Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin. Volume 12, Lord Luo Feng. Chapter 431, The Bottommost Levels of Abyss of Destruction. 6th of Volume 12. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Luo Feng finally relaxed. After all, the pressure from the three realm envoys was indeed overwhelming. Neither Lord Xingmeng nor Shazhou could break through the 28th level. While Luo Feng is the strongest in direct combat within the infinite Xuanhuan space, he had already begun relying on tricks by the 32nd level. There are two methods of gaining control of a level in the Chaos Destruction realm. The first is to utterly defeat the realm envoy and imprint your mark on the phantom origin. The second is to rely on tricks. Any way to evade the realm envoy's interference and successfully leave your mark would be suffice. If I'm already at a disadvantage in this level, I'll have to rely on tricks. What about the even more difficult 33rd level? Instead of rushing to explore further, Luo Feng remained on the 32nd level to reflect on his combat techniques. Drawing on his previous combat experience, he began addressing the flaws in his strategies. While refining his combat techniques, Luo Feng frequently used the three realm envoys as sparring partners. After spending over an epoch in this level and collecting its unique destruction-based treasures, Luo Feng finally ventured deeper into the 33rd level. Lord Luo Feng has entered the 33rd level. The Abyss of Destruction actually has a 33rd level. How many levels does it have in total? The Xuanhuan ancestors and lords watched from afar. Before any living being ventured into the abyss, they sensed only endless energy and profound stillness below, unable to perceive anything beyond. But when Luo Feng breached the 33rd level, a realm envoy coalesced, channeling the destructive world power, allowing the outside world to glimpse fragments of that realm. It's blocked again. The moment Lord Luo Feng entered the 33rd level, he activated his domain to conceal the entire level, blocking all observation. If I were to penetrate the 33rd level, I'd do the same. Such a profound level of the Chaos Destruction realm shouldn't be casually exposed to the outside world. These ancient observers communicated telepathically. Though the concealment prevented them from witnessing the 33rd level directly, they now knew one thing for certain: the Abyss of Destruction possessed a 33rd level. 33rd level of the Abyss of Destruction. The domain of life and death enveloped every corner. Luo Feng looked ahead and saw two colossal figures coalescing. One bore a striking resemblance to the giant god emperor, but was even more massive. Covered in jet black scales, its scaled wings blotted out the sky, radiating terrifying power. The other was a colossal flame bird. When it spread its wings, its fiery aura engulfed a third of the entire 33rd level of the Chaos Destruction realm. The endless flames relentlessly incinerated Luo Feng's domain of life and death wherever they touched. I've explored the 33rd levels. All the destructive power here is already contained within the 34 types of destructive power found on the Mountain of Destruction. Moreover, there are now only two realm envoys remaining. The Abyss of Destruction truly only have 34 levels. This was a conjecture Luo Feng formed back on the Mountain of Destruction, and the deeper he ventured into the Abyss of Destruction, the more plausible it seemed. These two realm envoys exude even more terrifying auras. Each one is a match for me, Luo Feng observed his opponents. One represents darkness, the other flame. They are different manifestations of the destructive power on this level. Moreover, one is a physical form, while the other is an energy form. This might be related to their combat styles. Luo Feng had already grasped the mysteries of the destructive power on this level while on the Mountain of Destruction, and he had formed various hypotheses about the combat styles of these two realm envoys. The flame bird glared at Luo Feng, then flapped its wings. The endless flames generated by its massive wings completely engulfed him. Enveloped by the endless flames, Luo Feng frowned slightly. One of the 9 sovereigns, the Xuanhuan beast ancestor, has a physical body that is a domain. This flame envoy is similar, it's composed entirely of flame, and when this flame expands, it becomes its strongest domain. In terms of suppressive might, it's roughly 3 times that of my domain of life and death, Luo Feng assessed instantly. Wherever the flames spread, the domain of life and death retreated steadily. However, Luo Feng was clad in blood-colored robes and protected by a protective energy layer that naturally resisted the flames. Buzz. The wings of the dark envoy, covered in black scales, trembled slightly. In an instant, it appeared directly in front of Luo Feng. A massive palm, as tall as Luo Feng himself, descended upon him. Boom. Luo Feng staggered back 2 steps. His protective energy layer, protective robes, and even his flesh and bones all withstood the terrifying force. Yet, only a few droplets of blood were shaken from his skin, and his energy reserves remained largely intact. What a swift strike, Luo Feng thought. He had deliberately taken the blow to better understand his enemy's weaknesses. A massive body, yet incredibly fast. Its power rivals mine, Luo Feng assessed instantly, but under the flame domain's suppression, I'm at a disadvantage against it. Boom. 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 The Dark Envoy relentlessly pursued Luo Feng. Its enormous size allowed even casual strikes to engulf most of his body. Luo Feng's blade light clashed repeatedly, leaving the Dark Envoy scarred and bleeding, but its wounds healed instantly, fueled by an endless supply of destructive world power. Sizzle. 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 Under the flame domain, tendrils of flame coiled like serpents around Luo Feng's limbs, seeping into every inch of his body. Luo Feng was growing increasingly frustrated. It felt like he was fighting a peer-level opponent while shackled in chains. I can't even get close to the Phantom Origin, Luo Feng muttered, trying to bypass the Dark Envoy. But under the all-encompassing pressure of the flame domain, Luo Feng couldn't utilize his usual short-range omnipresence. Whenever he attempted to approach the Phantom Origin, the Dark Envoy intercepted him. In a one-on-one fight, bolstered by the Blood Crane territory's power, Luo Feng's speed would surpass the Dark Envoy's. But now he was facing two opponents. Weakened by the flame domain's suppression, Luo Feng's speed lagged behind the Dark Envoy's, leaving him unable to break free. Whoosh! In an instant, Luo Feng's body split into three. One clone maintained 80% of his energy reserves, while the other two operated on just 10%. The weaker clones attempted to flank the Phantom Origin, hoping the Dark Envoy couldn't intercept them all. The Dark Envoy's power would diminish significantly if divided, while even a 10% energy reserve allowed Luo Feng's clones to maintain their physical integrity. The Flame Envoy's eyes blazed with ferocity as the endless flame domain rapidly contracted. The Flame Bird's power, when dispersed, transformed into the domain. As the flame domain contracted, the small flame snakes binding Luo Feng's limbs became denser and more solid. Each of his three clones was entangled by the snakes. The two weaker clones were instantly annihilated, while the stronger one struggled to withstand the fiery serpents. The main combat clone recovered to its peak state, unleashing razor-sharp blade light from its surface that tore through the flame snakes. Yet, the snakes reformed almost instantly. Each snake now resembled a Xuanhuan ancestor. Dozens of these fiery serpents coiled around Luo Feng, their combined power was also very overwhelming. Luo Feng's speed was now much slower than Lord Wulan's. There's no other way, Luo Feng thought. He dissolved his physical body, channeling all its energy into the 1.08 billion origin cores within him. The origin cores floated in the air, but the flame snakes continued their relentless attacks, undaunted by their own destruction. Boom! A wave of catastrophic destruction swept across the area, annihilating 70 to 80% of the flame snakes. The Flame Envoy's power was also halved. Yet, the inexhaustible power of the Chaos Destruction realm swiftly replenished the Flame Envoy's strength. I can't win, Luo Feng thought, with only 20% of his energy reserves remaining. He retreated, forcefully breaking through the time-space barriers to return to the 32nd level. Leaving was easy, but approaching the Phantom Origin remained an insurmountable challenge. Luo Feng returned to the 32nd level. The 33rd level has calmed down. The Ancient Ones could sense that the 33rd level had returned to tranquility, but they couldn't probe it at all. It seems the 33rd level is extremely difficult. Even Luo Feng failed. Or maybe he succeeded and returned to the 32nd level to gather resources. Unable to observe directly, the Xuanhuan ancestors could only speculate. The fact that Luo Feng attempted to explore the 33rd level likely meant he had mastered the 32nd level, a feat that still commanded the admiration of other Xuanhuan ancestors and lords. After all, Shazhou, the second most accomplished after Luo Feng, had only reached the 27th level. 32nd level. Luo Feng's energy reserves rapidly replenished, but his brow remained furrowed in deep thought. The Dark Envoy and Flame Envoy are both on par with me. One excels in close combat, while the other specializes in domain control and binding techniques. Luo Feng was troubled, their combined strength made them a formidable team. Moreover, they're fueled by the Chaos Destruction realm's energy supply and aren't constrained by energy consumption. How can I escape them? Luo Feng pondered deeply. The Flame Envoy's domain surpassed even that of the Xuanhuan Beast Ancestor, one of the 9 sovereigns. Escaping such a domain seemed impossible. I can't escape the Flame Envoy, but there might still be a way to deal with the Dark Envoy. My only advantage lies in my more subtle methods. As Luo Feng deliberated, a combat strategy tailored to these two envoys gradually took shape in his mind. Let's do this. After having fully recovered to his peak state, Luo Feng strode forward and charged into the 33rd level of the Abyss of Destruction. Upon entering, he immediately enveloped the area with his domain of life and death. Gripping the void-severing blade, he gazed into the distance as two towering figures of realm envoys materialized. Seal. Luo Feng extended his hands, and 30 streaks of blade light shot forth from his fingertips, forming a blade formation that severed time-space, blocked all energy transfer, and sealed off the area around the Dark Envoy. Each streak of blade light contained 1% of Luo Feng's energy reserves, and the entire blade formation consumed 30% of his total reserves. This was the triple absolute blade formation, from Luo Feng's clone combat technique. The formation consisted of 3 layers, and even if one layer was damaged, the other 2 could compensate. Moreover, Luo Feng could continuously supply energy to the formation. The primary function of this blade formation was to trap enemies. The Dark Envoy, having just materialized, stared in astonishment at the cage of blade light surrounding him. Boom! The Dark Envoy lashed out at the blade formation with its hooves and claws. The overlapping layers of blade light, infused with boundless vitality, dispersed the impact's force across the entire formation, easily withstanding the attack. The blade formation isolated the interior from the exterior, severing time-space, energy channels, and even cause and effect connections. While maintaining the blade formation, Luo Feng sensed that as the 2 realm envoys fully materialized, the phantom origin also appeared. Whoosh! Luo Feng didn't bother to waste time. In a flash, he darted straight toward the phantom origin. Whoosh! The flame domain engulfed a vast area, suppressing Luo Feng, and fiery serpents materialized across his body. Slay! 100 blade lights erupted from Luo Feng's body, each striking a fiery serpent. The serpents shattered and reformed, but the blade lights relentlessly pursued them, swirling around Luo Feng like sentient hunters. Each of these blade lights was formed by the fusion of dual blade light and shadow. The visible aspect was the shadow blade technique, a guaranteed hit method that locked onto targets, relentlessly pursuing them until its energy was exhausted, regardless of their evasions. The hidden aspect was the life-severing blade light, which severed the vitality and sentience of the fiery serpents. The serpents surrounding Luo Feng grew sluggish, repeatedly severed, and their obstructive power diminished. Whoosh! Protected by the 100 blade lights, Luo Feng charged toward the phantom origin. The physically formidable Dark Envoy was temporarily trapped by the triple absolute blade formation. Though its attacks were ferocious, dealing heavy damage to the blade formation, it couldn't break through the formation's barrier. The Flame Envoy, skilled in its flame domain, proved less effective in direct combat. Despite deploying dozens of small flame serpents and desperately channeling its flame domain to block Luo Feng's path, it could only watch helplessly as he reached the phantom origin and imprinted a mark upon it. The moment the mark was sealed, both the Dark Envoy and the Flame Envoy calmed, now submitting to Luo Feng's authority. It worked, Luo Feng thought, secretly relieved. These 2 realm envoys specialize in only one aspect of the destructive power of this level, limiting their methods. It was only by leveraging the superiority of my techniques that I managed to succeed, he reflected. Throughout the 33 levels of the Abyss of Destruction, from the 3,000 realm envoys in the first level to these final 2, all had wielded fragments of their level's world power, leaving their capabilities inherently flawed. Yet even with these flaws, neither Lord Xingmang nor Shazhou could breach the 28th level. This demonstrated that, in the face of overwhelming power disparities, even the most profound techniques proved futile. Luo Feng, however, had succeeded against the Dark Envoy and Flame Envoy by matching their power and outwitting them with his intricate techniques. Based on my calculations, the 34th level should only have 1 realm envoy. This realm envoy should possess all the capabilities of the world power of this level. With these thoughts, Luo Feng stepped into the next level. At that moment, every faction in the infinite Xuanhuan space sensed the another level of the chaos destruction realm. They understood that Luo Feng had cleared the 33rd level and had already entered the 34th level. The 34th level of the Abyss of Destruction. The domain of life and death spread out once more, isolating the area from all external observation. Luo Feng looked around. He was in a dark, solid land, its surface shimmering with black mist, the materialized form of endless resentment and hatred. Every particle of this earth was a solid manifestation of resentment and hatred. Simultaneously, an immensely majestic figure began to coalesce. The realm envoy, Luo Feng observed. The figure wore a black cloak that flowed with dark red light, within which echoed the mournful cries of countless lives. The figure gazed down at Luo Feng, its face obscured beneath the cloak. So, there's only 1 realm envoy after all, Luo Feng understood. This is the deepest level of the Abyss of Destruction, the hooded figure declared, its voice echoing through the void. I have been waiting here since my very creation. You are the first ultimate life form to reach this place. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.